What about second breakfast?
Time for second breakfast.
What's up, everybody? NuMetal Monster here for another second breakfast. Now, this one's going to be a lot of fun. This is actually going to be I guess it's going to be a 5-part series. So, I had a lot of fun doing the blind react to, I think it was, I don't remember the name of it might have been Revolver or Spin. It was Spin Magazine's top 30 NuMetal songs of all time. Well, we did a little bit more clicking around and we found Loudwire did a top 50 NuMetal albums of all time. So I said, I could probably make this into an episode or two. And Danger said, I know you. You can break this into a much longer thing. You can spend more than 2 minutes on each album. And I thought about it, and he's absolutely right. So what we've decided to do is I'm going to do 10 albums at a time. That'll give me enough time to process and give you my thoughts and my opinions. And, I think this will be a lot of fun. Now, in order to blind react to something, I can't see it in advance. So, Mrs. Monster went above and beyond for this. This is hilarious. So, if you cannot see, obviously it's backwards because of the camera, but if you're just listening to this, my wife got sticky notes and wrote top 50 NuMetal albums on it. So I can peel it off and see the next album to talk about it. This is so cool. She is so smart, and this was such a cool, clever idea. So as I go through, I'm going to peel it off, and I'm going to hold it to the camera. Again, it's backwards, but you get the idea. Just to show that I don't know what's coming. I do know the first one because I had to pull up the list so she could, copy it. Now, before we get started, and I'm going to do this at the beginning of each episode, and I'm going to cross it off because I have a list here. These are what I am predicting are the top 5. Now, I'm not going to put them in any particular order, and I will say, at least with the what I think should be number 1, it is a little bit of a nostalgic thing, and I don't necessarily think it will be number 1, but I feel like it could be or should be. But my predictions of the top 5 are, and this is the one that I think is probably not there, but I would put there, is Korn's Follow the Leader. Limp Bizkit, Significant Other. System of a Down, Toxicity. Deftones, White Pony. And Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory. Now, I'm not saying that's my top 5. It's not. But I would imagine, given the cultural impact of some of those albums, some of those bands, I feel like they are in the conversation for the top 10, top 15. So that's my prediction. As we go through these episodes, I'm going to cross them off when we get to them, and we'll see how many, let's say top 10. Let's see how many of these 5 make it to the top 10. So anyway, without further ado, here we go. Top 50 NuMetal albums of all time. And I'd also like to say this was published this year. So this was January 1st, 2025. So granted, a couple of cool new NuMetal albums have come out in the past year. They won't be here, obviously, but, this is relatively fresh. So that's pretty cool. Okay, top 50 NuMetal albums of all time. Number 50, Crazy Town, The Gift of Game. Now, on the show, we talked about their album Dark Horse because I thought it had a little bit more of an interesting story behind it. But if you recall, on that episode, I mentioned that The Gift of Game is much more of a NuMetal album. They kind of suffered the fate of Sugar Ray, where they were a heavy band. They were much more focused on the detuned riffs, a lot of screaming, and then they had a hit song that didn't really sound like the rest of their catalog, and they felt the need to shift to kind of cater to that. Hence, Crazy Town released Butterfly on The Gift of Game. Then Dark Horse has a lot of more Butterfly vibes than The Gift of Game. I actually like The Gift of Game a lot. It's not one of my absolute favorites, but I could see why it would be here. There's a really good song called Dark Cloud featuring Jay Gordon from Orgy that's got a real good vibe to it. The song Toxic is a banger. There's a couple other good songs on there. There is one more Butterfly-esque song called Revolving Door, but the lyrics are a little cringy, so I get why that didn't really take off. But yeah, okay. Starting off with a decent one. I can see that. All right, so number 49, Static X, Machine. That's not a bad one. That's definitely, I did ask Miss Monster this. I said no spoilers, but do multiple albums by the same band appear? And she said yes. So not surprised to see this one this far down. I would imagine Wisconsin Death Trip will be much higher, and maybe even Cannibal will show up later. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a whole lot of songs off of Machine, but I know I have it. I know I've listened to it. Static X is actually on tour right now with Mudvayne, and I've seen them live, and I actually talk about this on another Second Breakfast. I kind of forgot. I actually saw them live back in 2007 with Wayne Static before he passed away, and then I saw them again just a couple years ago opening for Rob Zombie and Mudvayne, and Powerman 5000 was there as well. And that was with Zero, the other guy that's pretending to be Wayne, who we all know who he is, but we're not supposed to say it. So anyway, but yeah, that makes sense. I will imagine we will see Static X at least one more time, possibly two. So, all right, number 48. Oh, Head PE broke. As if you're watching, you can see I'm wearing a Head PE t-shirt. Boo! This should have been way higher. Way higher. Damn, that hurts my feelings. Because I have a feeling they're not going to pop back up. I've made my feelings on Head PE very well known. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I love this album. When we did it on the show, I was a little bit... I don't want to say I was critical, but it's one of those things where if you're a fan of a band's entire catalog, you got to be honest sometimes. And so I was trying to be honest. There's a lot of things on Broke that I think are amazing, and then there's some stuff that I think didn't age real well. So either way, I absolutely love Head PE. This is bullshit. This should have been higher. Oh God, we're only like 3 things in and I'm already getting my feelings hurt. This sucks. All right. Moving on. Number 47, Statement by Nonpoint. This is a good album. I remember getting this when it came out. This was another one of those ones where I think I had heard a song off of like a sampler CD or something. It was called What a Day. And I really liked that song. Now, I will say What a Day is a little bit more, I don't want to say melodic compared to the rest of the album, but I was not quite prepared for as, I guess, aggro as the album ends up being. It's still really good, and there's a reason Nonpoint is still around today and still touring. People love them, and I get it. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen them live. I don't think I have, actually. But yeah, killer band, really good record. They might pop up again. I would not be shocked if they pop up one more time, before this list is over. All right, moving on. Number 46, Primer 55, the new release. Now, I'm going to say something controversial here. I think Introduction to Mayhem is better. Before anybody attacks me that had actually cares this much about Primer 55, but the new release is very, what's the word? It's a lot more accessible. There's a lot slower songs. There's a little bit of singing. There's like no singing on Introduction to Mayhem. It is just heavy screaming rap metal. And it's got some of the best like hip hop beats mixed with the chuggy guitars. But there's not a whole lot of like catchy, like get stuck in your head kind of stuff. And on the new release, oh God, what is that? Is it what you wanted? Trying to break me down whatever. That song actually made it to the radio. And that was a moderate rock hit, I think. So I get why that would be here. I don't know that they're going to pop back up. They only did, gosh, I think they only did those 2 full lengths and then like maybe 1 or 2 EPs. One of the guys passed away not that long ago. I don't remember if it was the lead vocalist. It might have been. But side note, they have actually, as of recording this, July 1st, they have actually reunited and are working on, I think they might just be doing a tour. I know they've announced some dates. I don't know if they're going to go in the studio and record some more or not. But yeah, not mad about that. I like Primer 55. Like I said, I feel like the other album's a little bit more nu metal, but I'm not mad at that. So, number 45, Gift by Taproot. I love this album. I think this is a great album. I have gone back and forth with people. Taproot will pop up again. I think their album Welcome will probably be in the top 30. But I think Gift is better. I think Gift is kind of experimental. There's a lot of weird time changes and stuff. I think it's called Again and Again. Just need some time to myself. That song rules. I love that song. There's another song called I that is great. There's a song called Mirror's Reflection that's brutal. This is a great album. It's not as... It's definitely rough around the edges. It's got some weird, like I said, some weird vocal choices, some weird time signature changes. If you like your nu metal with just a teeny tiny little pinch, I don't want to even say prog, but just kind of like some strangeness to it, this is a really good one. The first song, Smile, is great. It just jumps in, but then has this really cool like chorus. They kind of got a little bit more straightforward as their careers went on, which again, kind of like the Primer 55 thing, you want to, appeal to mass. So I get kind of tweaking the craziness a smidge, but this is a great album. My personal list, I would probably put this higher. This would probably be in my top nu metal albums, maybe top 30. I don't know. 45 seems a little low, but I think their album Welcome, most people like that one more. I think that one will show up later. So, all right. Number 44, Saliva, Every 6 Seconds. This is a tough one for me because I don't really consider Saliva very much of a nu metal band. We've made this joke before that nu metal and butt rock are cheek to cheek. And Saliva is right down the crack. Yes, there's some rapping. Yes, there's some bouncy beats. But there's still this like overwhelming amount of just like big rock and roll vibes that kind of keep it out of nu metal for me. This is not an album I owned. I heard it constantly. I do think Click Click Boom is a really good nu metal song. I mean, that song is pretty nu metal. And there's 1 or 2 other songs on this album that I remember hearing back in the day. So, I mean, kind of, I guess you could make an argument for it, but I probably would have left this one off the list. Side note, 2 quick Saliva stories. Number 1, I saw Josie Scott at the Nu Metal Revival Tour with Head P and Edema. The fact that he was headlining was, no, he shouldn't have been. It was very weird and uncomfortable. I mean, it wasn't awful, but it was not very good. And then also I was in a band I've mentioned before, Red Letter Rising, and we actually had a show booked with Saliva. This was after Josie quit. It was their different singer, but their guitar player actually passed away like a week before our show. So it got canceled, which is very unfortunate. But yeah, so yeah, I probably would have left this one off the list. But anyway, just a couple more before we wrap up today's episode. So number 43, Power Man 5000, Tonight the Stars Revolt. I love this album. It is so much fun. It's very Rob Zombie-esque, because if you've been living under a rock, I don't know why you would listen to this show, but the lead singer of Power Man 5000, Spider One, is Rob Zombie's brother. And so he has a very similar kind of, he doesn't necessarily sound like Rob, but he has a lot of Rob-isms to like his vocalization. Sometimes he kind of has this bark to his voice. I have listened to subsequent Powerman 5000 albums, but this is the only one that stuck with me. And I think it's probably, I mean, Worlds Collide is the biggest song they've ever had, and it's great. I think there's a song called Nobody's Real that's really cool and kind of creepy. This whole album's a lot of fun. I really like this album. If you're in the mood for something that is heavy, but has kind of like some disco beats and kind of maybe not quite as heavy as a Static X, Powerman 5000 rules. I actually, like I said, I saw them with Static X, Rob Zombie, and Mudvayne, and they really impressed me live. They were really good live, a lot of energy. Yeah, that's a good album. I like that. Maybe should be a little higher, but we'll see how this list goes. All right, so a couple more here. Number 42, yes, Spineshank, The Height of Callousness. Now, I have been debating doing a Spineshank episode for a while because I love that band. Similar to Head PE, if we just do one album, I can't promise I'm going to come in on like a super high score because they're one of those bands that I like parts of every single album they've done. Very cool band. This album in particular, this is another case where I don't think we're going to see Spineshank again because most people considered this their best album. The one after this is also really good. It starts off really strong and then kind of starts to fade, where this one is pretty consistently good. This is a really good album. If you like industrial, like sprinklings in your nu metal, again, like Static X or Powerman, Spineshank rules. Asthmatic, I think, is on this album. This is a really good album. Like I said, I think Synthetic is on this one. Most people would consider this the best Spineshank album, and I have a hard time disagreeing with them. So we'll, like I said, it's kind of a shame. I don't think we'll see Spineshank again. They probably deserve to have another spot on this list, but that's okay. That's a really good album. All right, so we'll do one more. This is number 41. Spit by Kitty. Now, I am a big sucker for Kitty. I really like them. And this album in particular, it's funny. Yes, you would put it here. Yes, it deserves to be in this list. But if you go back and listen to Spit, it is far more of a grungy kind of album than it is nu metal. Yes, Spit is a heavy song. Yes, Brackish is the song that that kind of put them on the map, and it has a lot of nu metal to it. But there's a song on there called I think it's called Paper Doll. There's a song on there called Raven, I think it is. And these are like they at least in my mind have more in common with like a Nirvana than they do like Limp Bizkit. It's still really cool album, and if I'm not mistaken, when they did that first album, they were kids. They were like 16, 17 years old. So there's this like angst and rawness to it that is a lot of fun. It's a brutal record at times, and the way it's mixed too has this it never sounds super chuggy and heavy. It always has this like kind of weird thinness to certain sections that I think just adds to it, because then when it does kick in, it is really heavy. Morgan Lander, she's great. She's phenomenal musician, vocalist, guitar player. She's awesome. They're actually they just released a new album recently called Fire that is maybe not fire, but it is good. I do enjoy it. It's definitely not nu metal though. They've sort of always been sort of all over the place. Like this album, Spit, is probably, I mean, it's their debut album, has the most quote unquote nu metal to it. After that, they got almost into more like black metal, sort of, not necessarily black metal, but just like almost no clean vocals, lots of screaming, really heavy chugs, a lot of double bass. But then a couple albums later, they did one where it's like all clean vocal. They had a different guitar players. They were doing almost like Iron Maiden twin harmonies and stuff. So Kitty is a fun band to do a deep dive on because their albums really kind of go all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. That was part one of NuMetal Monsters top 50 album reveal, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what we're calling this shit, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, so that was part 1. I don't know that we're going to release these necessarily all in a row. There might be some other stuff sprinkled in, depending on, factors. But yeah, we'll be back again with the next part. If you agree so far, if you think this is accurate, you don't think Broke by Head PE should be in the top 10 like I do, let me know. breakdownsbreakfast@gmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let me know. And if you got any predictions, if you want to chime in, feel free. Until next time, have a good day.